Before we get started with the podcast, Talk Music Talk has an app. That's right. It is free for iPhone and Android and your tablet. With the app, you get every single episode. That means back catalog shows. That means new shows automatically appearing in your feed. You can download shows for offline listening. You can star your favorite episodes. You can even share episodes on social media or email them directly through the app. It is available on iTunes and Google Play. It is free. Just search for Talk Music Talk. Once you download the app, please leave a rating and or review in the store to help spread the word and get people talking about Talk Music Talk. And now for today's episode. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Talk Music Talk with Boyce. I am Boyce, and this is my podcast. Talk Music Talk is a weekly interview music podcast where I have long-form conversations with people who are connected to music in some manner. Singers and songwriters, producers, music therapists, music journalists. And on episode 97, I had the pleasure of speaking to Computer Magic. Who is Computer Magic? What is Computer Magic? It is the electronic project of Danz, aka Danielle Johnson. She makes this amazing music full of just tons of hooks with these wide-eyed, innocent vocals, or at least that's my interpretation, if that means anything. She is originally from upstate New York. At 21, she taught herself how to produce music using the Ableton software. Just started making music for fun, releasing it for fun. We talk about all of that early music, the trial and error of it, giving it away for free. We talk about success in Japan, growing into your success versus overnight success. She has released a lot of music in a short period. She has 8 EPs out worldwide plus 4 LPs in Japan. Her American LP debut came out in 2015, Davos. She has a brand new EP, which is pretty wonderful. It comes out in October. It is called Obscure but Visible. You will hear a track from it, the first single, which is called Dimensions. Right after the conversation, she was super nice, super sweet, very nice person. I had a pleasure meeting her and talking to her. And she is a perfect example of having a dream or a goal and just starting where you are, not waiting for perfection, just learning and getting better by actually doing it. So she is quite inspirational in that way. Here it is, without further ado, my conversation with Danz, aka Computer Magic, on Talk Music Talk. Enjoy. I saw you perform live with Corbu.
Yeah.
Love Corbu. And I found out about you from a post that Jonathan, frontman, and he put forget them and come to the show for you.
I saw that.
And that's your new EP. Yes. So how did you guys connect?
We just kind of connected through mutual friends, I guess, like booking agents, and I really like their stuff, and they asked me to open for them, and I was excited about their new record, and yeah.
So when you open or tour someone, is there something you're looking for?
I guess you have to like the music. Mostly the tours that we've done, I've been fans of other people's work. We went on tour with Neon Indian. And that was really awesome.
Okay, who was that?
Neon Indian.
Neon. Okay, yes. I just saw him DJ.
Yeah, he DJs
a few
a lot.
Months ago.
He DJs a lot in the city. Yeah. We went on tour with Caveman. Those were my friends, and that was really fun. But yeah, it's good I like touring with people that have kind of similar aesthetic or vibe, and yeah, so.
Does it make it easier in terms of getting new fans if you're similar? Or
yeah, if you're similar, yeah. I remember I did a tour with opening for Lady Hawk around the U.S., and we did a one-off show, and I can't remember the name of the band that we opened for, but it was in Burlington, Vermont, and our music was very different. Not Lady Hawk. Yeah. This was just another show that we did in Vermont. But when we were opening up, I remember somebody in the audience was like, what are you, Skrillex? And I was like, is my music really that? It was like we were opening for an acoustic type of act, and I was like, I didn't think we were that electronic, but...
So you were like so...
I was, yeah, sometimes...
Otherworld for them.
Totally otherworld. But I think it's helpful, you know, to gain fans from when the music's similar, definitely.
Yeah. So how'd you get into the whole music? You, as a kid, first instrument?
When I've always been obsessed with music and listening to it, but I never knew that I could write music myself until I was 21.
Okay.
So when I was in elementary school, I was in band. I played like the clarinet and tenor sax, but it wasn't... I was just in it because all the other kids were, and I think I dropped that in high school. And then when I moved down to the city, I started DJing a bunch when I was going to college. And then I took a break from DJing and moved to Florida, where my mom had moved. I'm originally from upstate New York, but I moved down there. And during the day, I didn't have a job, and I was pretty much just being a bum on my mom's couch, like trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I downloaded Ableton and just started messing around and would make songs. And I remember my mom would come home from work and be like, how did you do that? You wrote a song. And I'm like, I don't know. I just did it. And I found out like I could just make music by ear, and I would write, you know, a melody, and then I knew that you needed to have a bass line, so then I would write a bass line, and I just started doing music for fun, and people just happened to like it, which was pretty crazy. Yeah.
So when you were playing sax and clarinet, had it occurred to you at all, like, to write your own stuff, or?
No way. Yeah. No, when I mean, it was just like elementary school or middle school or whatever, and that was just a thing.
Were you made to play? Did your parents make you play? Or?
Yeah, I think they kind of like were like, yeah, you should be in band. But I even remember in band, like, I just didn't have the attention span to like learn how to read music. So a lot of times it would be by ear. Like,
same here.
Yeah, and...
It was trombone for me, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would, like, watch the other people play trombone. Shout out to Victor. And I would just watch the sliding, and then I just, like, listen by ear. But I could not pick up, like, reading music.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, how that comes easily, I think, for some people. But for me, it's, like, easier to hear it.
And yet, the thing is, you can still be musical without actually knowing how to write music.
I mean, I don't know... it's really hard for me, actually, when I was first making songs and I wanted to play with other people. I remember I was recording, like, my first stuff with a real bassist and a guitarist for, like, my first EP. And I would know when they would play the wrong note, but I couldn't, like, communicate what note. Like, that's wrong. I know I can show you what note to play, but it's not that one. And, like, keys and, like, chords, like, it's completely everything by ear. And a few years ago, I was like, I probably should learn, actually, you know, how to communicate better with other musicians, but I've just gotten lazy. I'm just happy. I kind of like that I don't know, like, actual music theory or anything, because then I feel like it's more unique in a way. But
not beholden to, like, rules.
Yeah, like, if I knew, like, what I was playing wasn't technically right, then maybe I would second guess it or something. But,
So what were you listening to? High school? Like, influences?
In high school, I listened to... So in middle school, a lot of kids that I would hang out with, we would listen to, like, a lot of R&B and stuff. Like Ashanti and everything. And then after, I think, like, Franz Ferdinand in 2005 or 2006, and the Killers, like, put out stuff, and I remember watching it on MTV, and I was like, whoa, what is this music? I don't know about this. And then I would be on, like, the Franz Ferdinand forums and the Killers forums and read that their influences were, like, New Order. I'm like, oh, what's New Order like? And then I would get into, you know, other stuff through that. But I listened to so many different genres and everything, and when I was in high school, I was really into like going to Borders and buying, you know, the NME magazine. Yeah. And I would buy like the imported NME, and like be the only kid in my high school that would like know all these like UK bands. I listened to the Cribs a lot. This band, but. Yeah. Were
you drawn more into electronica stuff, or was it a necessity with Ableton that...
I think that was just how I started, because I didn't know it, because it was there. It was never my intent, like, I'm going to make electronic music. I just had software synths. And, I mean, I'm sure maybe if I had, like, a Rhodes or, like, another instrument, and I was recording on that, then that would be the sound that I started with, but that was just kind of how it happened. Yeah. But I have always liked like electronic music. In high school, I listened to like a lot of Ladytron. But yeah, that was kind of an accident, I guess.
How'd you find out about Ableton?
So I was DJing in the city, and I think I was using Tractor, and I had a lot of friends that were like DJs that wanted to transition into like producing their own music. And my one friend Max had Ableton and like Logic and everything, and I knew that it was that you could DJ with Ableton, and I didn't know that you could really make music with it. But I think I downloaded it more or less just because I was bored in Florida, and I knew that it was something that I should dabble with or whatever. So
the DJing was before
It was before I started making music.
Okay. And when did you start DJing?
I started DJing when I was like 18. I was living upstate, and I had a music blog, and since when I was like 15. Yeah. And Z-Danz.
Z-Danz.
But before that, it was like this blog called You Love My Music. And it was there was a site back in the day called Oink, and it was for torrents. And I was like every other teenager, and I would download music illegally. And there would be this site called Oink, like, I don't know if it was like record label people, but like people would leak music on there. And there was and all these blogs when I was a kid would like release all this stuff before it would be out. So I would be on Oink like, oh, what's the newest thing? And then I'd put it on my blog, and through that blog I had like met people in the city, and I moved down here to go to college at Hunter College, just undecided. And my ex-boyfriend at the time was DJing for fun. And he was like, oh, you should do it too, because you know more than I do about music. And I just started when I moved down here. I would like have to sneak into the clubs because I was like so young. I remember I would go to, there was it the Highline Ballroom or something? It was over on, like, above 14th Street. It looked like kind of like a boat. There's, like, round windows. It's a hotel.
I feel like I should know that.
I can't.
We'll say Highline.
I don't know if that's what it was called.
Bar X.
But it was like around there on the west side above 14th Street. Oh, Hero Ballroom?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
H-I-R-O? Right.
Yeah. And I would go into the hotel and take the elevator down to the club because I couldn't walk into the club because I wasn't old enough. Or like I DJ'd this place called the Annex for this party called Rough Club, which the Annex has long been gone now. It's had like 3 reincarnations, like different bars. But like I would be DJing and cops would come in or something, and I would like have to hide underneath the DJ booth and like wait for them to leave. But yeah, I was DJing a lot and working at a restaurant.
Okay.
And I had no time really to focus on school, so I dropped out.
Had you ever decided, or you remained undecided the whole time?
I was undecided. I think I went, I don't know, maybe like 5 days or like a couple weeks or something. But they were really big classes at Hunter, like in auditoriums. Okay, yeah. And they would pass out a notepad to write down your attendance or whatever. And that was the only way that they took attendance. And I figured, like, I don't even need to go. And all these PowerPoints were available online. If I just show up for my midterms, I can probably pass. But, of course, I never went online and looked at the PowerPoints and never, like, showed up for midterms. And my parents got my report card, and it was just all W's for, like, withdrawn. And they were like, Danielle, we're obviously not going to send you to school if this is what happens. And I was like, I agree. I shouldn't be going. It was like, well, my intent was to just take time off and figure out what I wanted to do and then go back and then put all my effort into it. But music happened and I haven't gone back. So
did the DJing spark that? What you wanted to do?
I guess. It's funny because I was DJing, but I knew that, like, I didn't want to be doing that forever. Like, I knew that I was young, and it was a fun thing to do, but I also didn't want to be, like, 40, 50 years old and then just being at the club with, like, people that are a lot younger than me. So I think that's DJing. I love DJing because I had just this vast array of like music knowledge that I could use. And I mean, you would play these songs and like get free drinks. And some places like at the Ace Hotel, they give you a free dinner. And,
can't beat free food.
Yeah, you're just like getting paid to play music and like get things for free.
Were you playing on a laptop?
I was playing on a laptop. Now if I DJ, I don't really do it that often anymore. Just like guest DJing. Like I DJ'd New Year's Eve at the Knitting Factory. Okay. But I'll do vinyls because I feel like laptops are so easy to...
It's a little work.
Yeah, it's like a little work.
If nothing else, just carrying it on.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, there's like, people just bring their phones and DJ with those. But yeah, I mean, on laptop, on Tractor and like Serato, there's just a button that you press that's like sync, and then it matches the BPM of the next song, and there's no work involved. I mean, finding the music is, but yeah, I think vinyls are fun, and it's neat to like bring a tote bag full of records and you have to play those. Yeah, you're kind of confined to that. Yeah, and if someone requests something, you're like, I can. This is what I have. Or like maybe you have it, which would be pretty great. But
like you should have came on laptop night. So the music, you get to you're 21, you're doing the music. Was there like a moment, first song, where you're like, okay, this is what I want to do?
I think what kind of justified it for me was when. So I put it online for fun, and I remember like showing some of my friends, and like one of my first, and I would, because I had the music blog, I knew how to like form an email to other music blogs. So I would be like, hey, this is Computer Magic, Rains from upstate New York. It's just, I would try and write a PR email or whatever. But I remember this one blog wrote me back and was like, there's no bass in this song. Like, it's not a real song. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I need to put that in the song. But I think just people actually, liking it was just such a surprise. And Stereo Gum had posted like band to watch or something, which I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I would follow Stereo Gum all the time as like a music fan. So like to have people actually like care about my own music was like just, I don't know, kind of strange. But yeah, I think just having people respond to it. I think my mom was really good about like saying that my music was good.
Were you scared putting the music out there at first?
I was, but because I didn't have any plan for it, I wasn't like that scared. Because I wouldn't have minded if people were like, this sucks, what are you doing? I'd be like, okay, well, I didn't know, I just put it up. So I think because I had no expectation, I wasn't very scared.
Okay.
But I think if I had, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's why I wasn't too scared, but it could have gone the other way and people could have hated it and then I would be very sad.
We wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah, definitely not.
Was the singing there from the beginning?
No, the singing happened because I was just writing instrumental stuff and my mom would come home from work and I would like show her every day, like, Mom, look what I made. Yeah. And I'd burn it onto CDs and bring it into her car to listen to because I had no, like, I didn't know you needed monitors. Okay. And I would just do everything on my headphones because I was just learning how to do anything. But so I would burn what I made on a CD, go out to her car and listen to it. And I would forget to take the CD out. And so my mom would be like, oh, I like what you did yesterday. She was like, I really think you should put like lyrics on your songs because, I personally like instrumental music, but it'd be nice to hear you singing about something. I was like, all right, I guess we'll do that. So I would just write lyrics and on like papers and just think about stuff and sing. But I think like if people listen to like my earlier stuff, they can hear like how shy I was. I like would totally put so many effects on my
lots
voice.
of reverb.
Yeah, lots of reverb, and it was like really low in the mix. And then there's another song that I did. I took it offline, so probably nobody could find it. But it used to be online. But it was called "And Lastly, the Kids Are Growing Up," and I didn't really know how to record. And so I'm like yelling, like yelling on top because I didn't realize that I need to turn the music down to like record my voice on top and then I don't need to be yelling. But yeah, that song, it's basically like I was figuring out how to write music and like putting it online as I did it. And, but yeah, it's definitely, I think I've like come a long way with, producing a song.
Were you singing before that, or this was all new to you singing?
No, it was all new.
Did you have to get over any barrier of that, like people? Because it's one thing people to hear your instrumental music, but then to hear your voice singing.
Well, it was pretty difficult. I mean, it wasn't too difficult with recording because it was basically like I was doing it like I would go in my mom's closet and like lock the door and be like, Mom, you can't go outside and like do something. Like I didn't want anybody to be around while I was singing. I wasn't too scared to like put it up online and have it critiqued or anything, but I think live shows were just horrific for me. I was so scared to like go on stage. And my first South by Southwest, I had a show, and
when was this?
This was like 2011, I guess. But I was just like a statue on stage, and they're just like staring out, and I got off stage and somebody was like, I really like that deer in the headlights look you do. And I was like, that's not on purpose. Like, I'm deathly afraid. But now I think touring and just getting used to playing.
Yeah.
But that was really hard for me playing live and made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah. How many releases did you have? Because you were releasing EPs to that point.
Yeah. I think just like 2 or 3. I would just basically make a song, put it online, make another song, put it online. And then it was like, oh, well, all these songs need to live on something. So then I would release them all on an EP. So I'd release the songs one by one and then put up like a zip file of the EP for like people to download for free with all the songs. But I think in 2011 there was like 3 EPs that I put up. But now I have like 8.
Okay. So I gotta have several questions. So the EPs, where you're putting them out, was that just like you sending them to your blogs or putting it on your website?
So I would put them on my website, like just folders for people to download. And I would send them to blogs, like just try and do my own PR.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I've eventually found the site where I could put my stuff on iTunes and Spotify and everything like that. But yeah, in the beginning I would just put it for free because I was like, nobody's gonna buy this. Yeah. Nobody knows who I am. Why would they buy this? But I think now I'll like place more value on it, even though like as a music blogger and being like a fan of getting, you know, when I was a kid and a band would release like a free EP, I was like, man, that's so cool. It's free music.
Yeah. So
I kind of like that idea. But yeah, all my first stuff I would just put on my site.
Okay. So were there any like themes with the EPs, or is it just like these are the next 4 or 5 songs that goes on an EP? These are the next 4 or 5 songs that goes on an EP. Or is your song style evolving?
So it was, I think like whatever I'm working on is usually what I'm into at the moment. And like I wrote the song Victory Gin because I was reading this book, 1984, and the lyrics are like about that book that I was reading. I wrote the song Trinity. That was like, I was watching a lot of Dexter at the time, and I was like, what?
Oh, the Trinity Killer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what like the song's about. Yeah. I don't think that many people would know, but the lyrics are about like how Dexter thinks he's, you know, doing the right thing, even though he's like killing people. But I think I'm just like, the themes or whatever I'm like currently into at the moment just kind of come out in the song. But the EPs, there was never like a full theme or anything. So
what was like the first, I don't know, big break, or that this is a real thing, computer magic?
It's been very, I guess it's slow moving for me in the sense where I see other bands that are coming out of like nowhere. I'm like, I've never heard of them, and they're super big now. But I think for me, it's just like very gradual. One of the things that happened that was crazy is I put out music in Japan and put out an album over there and got to tour there. Yeah. And I've been there like 5 or 6 times touring. But that was seeing my CD like in a Virgin, or not Virgin, they have Tower Records there.
Oh, still?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They have, they have Tower Records in every city.
Really? Okay.
And people, like CD sales haven't gone down, which is really crazy. Just seeing my CD there in the record store. And recently I pressed my last record, Davos, on vinyl, and I brought it to like Rough Trade. I pressed it myself, and I didn't have a distribution company. So I would literally just walk into record stores or like call them up and be like, hey, Computer Magic, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in selling my record there. And so they put it at Rough Trade, and like my friends would go and take pictures of it and like show me. So that was pretty crazy to see my vinyl in like a record store. Was a big thing for me. But yeah, it's just been really small things that kind of solidify like, all right, this is a good thing that I'm doing. Oh, and then 2 years ago, a song of mine was in a Lexus commercial. Okay. So I think that was seeing my song on TV was like...
Yeah. They just came to you about using it?
So I have a licensing company.
Okay.
That kind of like pitches songs for commercials and Running, which is crazy because Running was literally like one of the first songs that I made with no... to me, I feel like I had no idea what I was doing. And that's the song that it was in a Lexus commercial and an Aria resort. Okay. Casino, Las Vegas commercial. But yeah, that was in 2 commercials.
Okay.
That was crazy.
That's cool.
I was just going to say, I think that kind of solidified it for my parents.
Okay. This is a real thing. Yeah, Lexus is real. Do you see an advantage of, it being sort of like a slow build as opposed to, like you mentioned, the overnight?
I think there is, because there's a lot of things I know now that I'm glad that it has been a slow build. I mean, for instance, like playing live, if I were to go on, say I was like an overnight success, and my live show like 4 years ago, if that were to go on like a late night show or something, it would be just horrible. Yeah. So at least now I'm like...
Are you talking about Lana Del Rey?
Huh?
Are you talking about Lana Del Rey?
No, not specifically. But, I mean, it's crazy because a lot of people make music, in their bedrooms. Like I had never played a live show before in my life, and I was getting asked to play in Brooklyn, and I was didn't know, how to be a live act. Whereas like in the 60s, like there were bands that played live all the time, and when they recorded, it was live. But I was, behind a computer having complete control over everything. So I think in that aspect, I'm happy that it's very slow moving, because at least I'm like more comfortable with the live show.
Because I don't know her name, but I was going to Rockwood to see a show in Stage 2. Yeah. And they were running late, so she was performing. Then I found out that she was like an internet, YouTube. So she had like, millions of hits. And that was her first performance.
Oh, wow.
And you can tell that for that many people, that shouldn't have been her first performance. That like she had skipped ahead of the line, but she lost. You lose things when it goes that fast.
I feel like now it's just the internet makes, it's a really great thing for a lot of artists, but at the same time, I don't know, it's scary to for her, it must have been very scary, your first time. Luckily my first shows were some of them were for 5 people, so nobody came to those.
Good. Did it take you a long time to get comfortable, or are you comfortable? Or do you enjoy it?
Now I look forward to it. We just played a show last week in Guadalajara, in Mexico, and we just flew out for this one festival. And it's a lot too. It's like you're traveling far away. Yeah. Just to play for 45 minutes, I feel like you have to make it kind of count. And that show was really fun. And there was a lot. I think that was the most people we ever played for. It was 3,000 or 5,000 people or something.
Oh, nice.
I actually feel like that's easier than playing for not very many people in a way. But yeah, I think I'm more comfortable playing live for sure than I used to be.
So you've got Davos was last year. Would that be your first American LP?
Yes.
Or okay.
First American LP.
Mm-hmm.
I put out like a bunch of EPs, and then in Japan, 4 records. Davos was my 4th LP.
Okay.
But the records that I put out in Japan that were LPs were pretty much compilations of my EPs over here. So everything is the same, just like in different format.
Okay. Well, how did that break come through in Japan?
So this record label, Tugboat Records, had emailed me in 2012. It's like a couple years after I had been making music. And they were just like, we'd like to put out your EP as a record over here. Would you be interested? And of course, because I had put up all those songs, produced them and released them myself, I owned all the rights. Okay. So I was like, of course, yeah. Let's do that. And they put it out there, and I toured there, and it's just every year, it's like another record, and it's pretty steady. And it's definitely, like, Computer Magic is successful there in a way that I'm still waiting for that to happen here.
Like a Cheap Trick type thing.
Yeah, Cheap Trick. Yeah, I read it's funny, I read that the Big in Japan Wikipedia page recently. Yeah. And I just learned that Cheap Trick are like the Beatles.
Yeah, they're like
of Japan.
Crazy there.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I don't know what it is, but I mean, of all the countries to be big in, I'm happy it's Japan.
Yeah. So you got the new EP coming out October
7th.
Okay, it's October 7th. Obscure but visible, right? And how is this your statement, or is this 4 or 5 songs?
Yeah,
that just happen to be together.
So these were. So I put out Davos, and I can't really stop making music because I don't know how to do anything else now. And I've been spending a lot of time upstate recently and writing music there. And I think these songs are just I don't know, like the songs I've written upstate, they feel very open to me. And there's no specific theme or anything, but
is your recording setup pretty much the same with Ableton, or has it changed?
I still use Ableton. I have a lot more synths now than I used to when I first started making music. I recently got a Prophet 6 synthesizer. I have a Moog Minotaur. I have a Prophet 8, but I have more to work with than I used to. I have a studio in Bushwick that I share with a girl, and I recently got the studio, and it's my first not a bedroom studio. It's like a place that I go, with coffee and sit down. All right, ready to work on stuff. Yeah. Whereas before, it's like I just wake up and my stuff's right there. So I feel like it's like a new level or whatever. Yeah. But.
And what do you have planned, with the release of the album? Months after that?
Well, I hope to... Well, in February, I'm going on a tour, a big tour in the U.S. Probably tour Japan again. And we're, working on a... Wow, I've never toured Europe before. So I hope to do that. Hopefully some festivals. I'm hoping that more people notice this EP.
It's really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope people like it.
Okay, cool. And best place for people to keep up with you online?
I would say my website, thecomputermagic.com.
Don't forget the.
Yeah, there's a because Computer Magic was taken, so it's the Computer Magic. I'm on Twitter, Danz, and Instagram.
Okay.
and all that stuff.
And I'll put that all in the show notes.
Cool.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
Sure. And I wish you the best with the EP and everything else.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that was Dimensions from Computer Magic. I hope you enjoyed the music. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Danz. Don't forget Obscure But Visible. The new EP is out October 7th. I highly recommend downloading it. Her website again, thecomputermagic.com, thecomputermagic.com. As for me, I am online, talkmusictalk.com for more information about this podcast. Also, I love Instagram, so follow me there at thisisboyce, BOICE, and your call to action this week. Don't forget to download the Talk Music Talk app wherever you get your apps for iPhone and Android and your tablet. And I highly recommend episode number 87 when you're going through the back catalog. At the start of this conversation with Danz, I mentioned Corbu. I interviewed the frontman, Jonathan Graves, on episode 87. We talked about their amazing album, which is out now, Crayon Souls. So listen to the interview and then download their album. They are currently on tour with Block Party. They are opening up for them. Check out their website too, corbu.com. That's CORBU for dates and album information. It is one of my favorite albums of the year, Crayon Soul. I'm a fanboy, so I got to recommend it any chance I get. Thank you so much for listening to this conversation with Computer Magic. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, and there will be a next time. This one's for you, Liz.